Hello, hello everyone. Welcome,
Hi
welcome to
everyone.
this.
Hello everyone. Welcome to this session today. And we are going to talk about something which is very, very powerful today. How thoughts create these cellular level changes. I don't know how many of you have really thought about and how many of you are really aware of it. As per the article of HuffPost, every minute of every day, your body is physically reacting, literally changing in response to the thoughts that run through your mind. And every thought, actually, when you're thinking, there's a neurochemical change which is happening in your body. Some are temporary and some are longer lasting, but we do not actually know about it because it's such an internal process which is happening to us. For instance, when people, consciously practice gratitude, they get this surge of rewarding neurotransmitters like a dopamine and experience a general alerting and a brightening of the mind. Probably we can correlate this to more of a neurochemical called norepinephrine, a little difficult name. So that's what it is called as. And what we understand as power of thoughts, it's actually an association with your cellular level changes. So, what do we do in IMSC coaching, the innermost shift coaching? We actually lay a lot of emphasis on how the person will consciously carry these changes in his or her own life so that they become a part of the neurology and create the desired response in an autopilot mode. Very important when people undergo a change. If they do not live that change in the whole body, it does not get embedded inside them. So you can also think about, before I proceed ahead and I just tell about myself and sir, you can also think about there are certain experiences of life that you have lived with full integration of your body. Maybe the time that you got married, or ladies when you delivered a child or something, or when you were given a new position and somehow you became the CEO. So when that whole kind of energy was surged inside your whole system, the neurons were fired and there were a lot of neurotransmitter changes would happen, and that memories you live forever, right? So we're going to talk about that today. So let me introduce, my name is Siri Guru Prakash Kaur Khalsa. Siri is short. And with me, I have Mr. Satpuram Singh Khalsa. We both are MCC coaches, and together we are the co founders and directors of Innermost Shift Coaching. We coach people to really achieve the best in life, not what they think is the best, but actually what is best for them. And we have proudly trained more than 500 coaches on the path to ACC, PCC, and MCC. And our model Innermost Shift Coaching is actually an amalgamation of the ICF core competencies, the NLP techniques in its pure form, the yoga somatic science, and also a lot of experience which has gone with us when we have coached people, when we have got trained, and obviously our life own teaches. A lot of teaching happens to the life as well. And this is a model which has actually evolved through a lot of research work and our commitment to give the best to our participants. So let me ask Sir, just to understand that what are his views on this, explaining and understanding that how do you really think a thought can create a cellular level change?
Thank you, Siri. So my views are that if we go by science, it has been scientifically proven that every cell that we have has a memory, and contrary to the popular belief or a colloquial way of describing it or a layman's way of speaking it, that it's not our brain as an organ in our head that only stores the memory. In fact, our entire body. So we are the embodiment of entire experiences that we hold and that get expressed from whole body. So our memory is stored in the entire being, which means every cell, every nerve, and even every fiber of our being holds memories. And this is why some thoughts trigger our memory, which lights up our face and we smile, and we're recalling some memory that gives us good feeling, and sometime we totally get fused or you can say that get pulled off because some negative memory gets triggered off. And so our body holds the memory and we are in fact designed to behave that way, but our thoughts can change our cellular structure, cellular system, and we can go other way. I mean, if some of you are quite adventurous and want to really experience it right now, you can experiment like pointing out your finger somewhere you can, okay, hold your arm straight, okay, and then try to take your hand as much as back and let it point out to a point you can notice how far you can go and mark out a point there. Take some moments, okay, and now return back to your original position, and this time close your eyes and put your total consciousness in your body and get filled with this thought process that I can or my hand can move way far beyond than where I've touched it, and my body can flex to that extent. So let your thoughts influence your whole cellular system, your whole body for a moment. And now with the eyes closed, okay, just once again turn back and point out your finger from front to back. If some of your done is good, now open your eyes and see that you have gone way far beyond than your present mark. So you have a cellular memory that to the point your body can stretch, your mind can move your arm, and then you have a new thought system and you can change the cellular structure. Why I asked you to close your eyes is because I want you to surpass your critical bypass, that criticality that, oh, it's not going to make any difference. So if you shut the critical dialogue that you have about yourself, then you can surpass your memory system and memory pattern. So this is the way the thoughts and the consciousness affecting your cellular and muscular system can be understood and can be used. So that's what my point of view is to begin with.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think in this, somebody is asking that what happens to your body when you are thinking? A very wonderful question. Probably most of us have never thought about what happens to our body because we are just living the way the things are happening to us. So let me start by, two things. The first experiment done by a Japanese businessman called Masaru Emoto. We all know about him. He took some jars filled with water, and he put certain labels on it saying love, compassion, appreciation, joy, something like that. He put it all around, and then he studied the molecular structure of these water. They became much more crystalline and homogeneous, and I think we have also seen in certain books such kind of an experiment has been there already. And then what he did, he labeled certain jars with words like hate, bad, worried, stupid, agony, depression, anxious.
Hmm.
And to his surprise, that broke and corrupted the whole molecular cellular structure of the water. Imagine body being 75% water, and if we are always talking, if you're always thinking the thought, it is affecting our neurology because it's a living organism. It's not just about the water, it's also a living organism. I'll tell you about one more experiment, and I think all of you can do it. It's a very famous, and I don't know how many of you know it. We call it as a kinesthology experiment. So let's say if you put your finger or you put your arm straight and kind of just test the muscle in your body. So just test normally, ask somebody to push it down if you can see my hand by the other hand, or do it yourself and say, okay, maybe just test the kind of muscle power you have. You're pushing it with the other hand and you're resisting with the arm which is straight, and then you say, okay, I am Siri. So let's say I'm saying I'm Siri and I'm testing it. Let's see how it is, and believe it, you are going to do it. I'm doing it right now, and it's the effect that I can see. And if I say, okay, I say I am prosperity, if I say this to myself, believe it, even to my own surprise, my hand is not that much carrying the strength which it was carrying when I said Siri. So imagine the kind of thoughts and thinking and even the words that you're speaking to yourself. It is affecting your every cell. And human body is composed of all the elements, and obviously water is one of the dominant ones, but these thoughts affect every cell and every memory. So if you're speaking negative thoughts, sometimes just about before we started, we met one of our friends, and of course she's running a restaurant, but then she's facing some problem with the issues around not the people, but then the servicing part of it. I says, it is getting to my nerves. I said, why are you speaking like this? He says, no, Siri, it's been like that. I've not been able to sleep, and I've been just feeling it. I've spent so much of money and time on it, and every day I have to do this, and I'm just feeling so terrible. It's like, a baggage I'm carrying. Imagine speaking these words, how it is affecting you. Every word that you speak creates either harmony or disharmony inside your body. So what we can do, we can also use the experiment of Masaru and, just put the labels and keep giving, even speaking. For example, if you speak to the water, and you can do that experiment yourself, which was also done with the plants. Then if you take two plants and you say words like love, care, I love you, I nurture you, you're so beautiful, the plant grows beautifully. But if to another plant you do the experiment and see for yourself, says you are useless, you cannot grow, you are just stupid, it's just like nothing, there's nothing in you, the plant will just die. Imagine, now we're not even talking of water, we're talking of simply uh the medium air. Imagine talking like this to a plant, what it can do. Now think about your own self, how when you are thinking and your thoughts are creating an effect, any abusive word spoken even to the other person, because your whole, it's like, it's very strange when you're angry, your whole nervous system and whole physiology is very very active, and you're using every part of your muscle and cells. So even if you're talking to somebody else in a negative way, it is actually affecting you and it's affecting your thought process. But on the other hand, if you speak in the most loving way even to the others, believe it, your body loves it, because it is actually also coming back to your own system. So when you're speaking, when you're thinking, it is all, a part of an effect which is happening inside you. Though we, of course, to understand the whole body, we have to understand the biology of the body, so we're not talking of that. Even simple, to this extent that these neurotransmitters actually control virtually all of our body's function, from hormones to digestions to feeling happy to feeling sad or stressed, everything is happening, everything is controlled by them. And also, I've heard about Deepak Chopra speaking from the Vedic wisdom. He talks a lot about intention experiment. Law of intention gives understanding of the consciousness as a field of endless possibilities. And there are a lot of cases when strong positive intention, there's one of the case which I'm aware, and I think probably in his book I had read some of in one of the book, that this was the intention of the father about the son. Biologically speaking, this son did not have any ears and he was deaf. He was born like that without any physical organ, but his intention was so strong that he said that my son is going to listen to me no matter what happens. And without having the organ, the son used to listen to his father. Imagine the power of your thoughts. Imagine the power that how you can manifest even with the law of intention. So now think about your goals, even the material goals that you have. Coming to the other aspect of it, if you have the intention of it, how actually your consciousness can really create what you really want, right? And there's a lot of research also, where you're exploring the nature of consciousness. It's happening all around the world, which also shows that thoughts are capable of affecting everything from the simplest machine to the most complex living beings. One of the examples, when I go to the hospital and I talk to patients just to make them aware that how our mind is so powerful. I remember long back, because I've been talking to various people. And, so when you talk to people, so many times I'm talking of when the mobiles were not there. So when I used to travel from our outside office, I used to tell sir, if there's a phone, which I can use without the wire, I can talk to people in the car also. That was just my thought. Obviously, many people would have been thinking like that. And imagine mobile being created without any wires. The power of thought. I'm talking of outside and inside both. So when we are thinking, it is creating a lot of impact in you, around you, in your whole environment. We are breathing the same air what have been breath since many, many ages, because the atmosphere of the earth carries everything. So just take care of what you think, what you talk to yourself and to others, because you're actually, every thought is a tangible packet of energy with this power to transform. And how one thought can create a magic in your life, and also it can create a magic in the other's life as well. That's what I think is, you can really do a miracle with this thinking of yours.
Okay. Uh, yeah, Siri, I'm finding a question here, and someone has written here that I have heard of Bruce Lipton talking about this, and that how our thoughts control our DNA, and can you throw some light on it? Thank you for asking this question and also introducing a person who has worked so wonderfully on the cellular memory, and he's a very famous book. Even our, I heard that even our earlier former president of India, Abdul Kalam, he was also was seen and witnessed mentioning about his book because he liked the really idea that how, in fact, um, our thoughts can change our entire being and cellular system, and we can affect a lot. So when we talk, the cells exist everywhere in our body and around us, and we can influence the system. Now, the biggest victimization that has been happening by human being to human being is that we always thought that we are the end product of our genes, our DNA, and we cannot change it. You know, it's a very common sense. Let's think about it. That if it is really true, then when have this distortion begun happening? We have to ask this question. So let's say if you think it's by generation and by DNA and by design of your parents, you got the diabetes. So when has the parents got the diabetes? So and if it is not coming from the origin, that means somewhere in this process, this has become a way of being of a person. So all those disease and this discomfort that people have begin giving a room to in their own body, or they become the embodiment of all blood pressure, um, diabetes, tumor, cancer. We are not come with a gene to create it. It's a common sense even would speak it. If that be the case, then the world will distort. We will end up like having every disease because generation by generation it's going to one is getting into two, two are getting into four, four are getting into eight by way of generation. So first I'll give you an example that I met a doctor and he had some problem within himself. I won't disclose. And he said, "Oh yo, it's generational. It's in my DNA. It's coming from my parents." I said, "Oh God, that means you have a younger daughter. I know that she's 6 or 7. So you are preparing to give it to her. If that is the truth." This shocked him. And it's due to interrupt the system. So, in fact speaking, that's what Bruce Lipton talks about in his famous book and research called The Cell Biology or Biology of Belief, that you can, in fact, influence your cells and overcome the defects in DNA, because cells have their own intelligence, they have their own receptivity, so they have their own protein. I won't talk those jargons that called receptors. So cells can choose to receive the information depending upon what's there in the environment. And environment, I don't mean what's around you. Environment means the mental environment that you create inside. So every thought, every thinking that you have, it creates a mental environment and you become the embodiment of that environment. Then your cells pick up and they start rejuvenating, dancing, and changing and transforming. So this is what it means that our thoughts can control our DNA, and we are not to be the victim of, and nor do we have to become the victim of passing it off. I recently remember that we went to some person and he said, "Oh, it's everything karmic, it's all coming from the DNA, it's all coming from the parents, even short temperedness and everything." Then he began also telling us about that how his own daughter is short tempered because he's short tempered, his grandmother is short tempered, his wife is short tempered. It really bugged me. That is not to be the case. No matter what, we can create a wonderful mental environment with our thoughts and hold on to those kind of thinkings, which has the power, which has the way to empower us. And that's what exactly Bruce Lipton mean. Okay, so that's my answer. So, Siri, do you have any question? Just see screen
Yeah,
being asked.
there's, yes, yes. Somebody says that many studies show that our thoughts program our cells. What do we have to say about it? And that's a very interesting question. Thoughts program ourselves. If you see, biologically speaking, our whole body is new in 1 year's time. I'm talking about the internal cells. Of course, it's when it is getting new, it's very unfortunate because we do not know how to program ourselves. So when the old cell is dying, it teaches the new cell that what is the function and what is not functioning in your body. So we carry forward the same things. When because I'm sometimes talking to the doctors and I do study them. I have the science I've studied about the body as well. Our stomach lining is new in 6 months. Our eyes have new cells in 1 year. But what about the disease that we are carrying forward? Because we do not know how to program. But our thoughts have a huge, huge capacity to recreate and reprogram these cells. You must have seen, many people who have terminal disease. Some people respond to the medicine, but some people don't. Some people say it's about the attitude, but it's not just about the attitude. It has a much deeper neural connection inside you. It is essentially about thinking, and it is actually the consciousness that impacts the change that they create at the cellular level. So let me just take some example, maybe how thoughts as a metaphor really affects our body. If somebody says, my parents are a burden, it's a heaviness in the whole body. If somebody says, my boss is a headache, then probably that's the cause of the migraine or the headaches that they get. And somebody says, his words pierce through my heart, maybe weakens the heart. I don't know. I just don't know. It's how much sure. But then this is what has been also some of the healing aspects. If you go into, they also talk about it, because everything that you are speaking is impacting us at any level. That we have already talked about it. And if somebody says my relationship is bitter, probably they spoil their whole digestive enzymes, because you're talking of bitterness, and that's the kind of taste that you have. Because every word that you speak has a meaning for you. If somebody says his progress gives me heartburn, probably that causes the person acidity. Check on yourself, when you're speaking certain words, what is happening to your body. It's very, very unfortunate, I would say. We have a body, but we don't live in our body. Most of the time we are living outside. We don't even know what's happening to inside our body. We've never thought about that, how we can sense this heartbeat, though it's difficult for some of the people. But believe it, once you tune into your body, you can sense everything that's happening. Even you can hear the flow of the blood. But of course, it's a practice, we have to do it. Let's say if somebody says, his words are pricking to me, maybe they are causing some kind of allergy or itching to themselves. So notice in your own thoughts in the mind that how they are affecting your cellular structure, maybe on different parts or different organs of the body. So start just, kind of delving inside yourself, that when you speak, what happens to you? Notice it. It might take some time, it might take few weeks, but the moment you start doing it, you will start understanding, and believe it, your own vocabulary will change. So the way you think, the way you really are thinking inside you, your organs are also getting effective, which we are not aware of it at all. So start doing this little exercise and find out for yourself, when you speak certain words, maybe pick up a dictionary and find an alternate word. Obviously we have to speak, the emotions what we are having, but it's very unfortunate because we are not very proper either in English or in Hindi or whatever language you are speaking. So we have very few words. So start using lesser intense words for your emotions, so that you don't form those cellular memories which start affecting your organs. And probably we can be little, help our bodies to live little better, because that's been given to us like a gift. So I would say just experiment with it, and just go ahead and see what happens to you with the thoughts.
Thanks, Siri. I think somebody is asking a very good question here. That and Siri has spoken all about it, and our words affects us. Then what can we do about it? What can we do to change our thoughts? Yes, I think Siri has given you already clue. And let's also understand one reality, that to every word we give the meaning. It doesn't have any meaning, but we give it. So eventually, every single word that you speak, you have associated certain experiences with that word, and that is embedded and gone into your whole cellular system. So it requires you to become more conscious and more aware of that, how is every single word impacting me, and which kind of thoughts and images I'm creating while speaking that word. Because we say, no, I don't mean it, I just say it. Yeah, that's true. This is what you know consciously, that everything that you say, you don't mean it because you don't consciously see any meaning. However, if you slow down a bit and you become mentally aware of that, how every single word I'm speaking actually means, where it has come from, what all memories I have pocketed into it, what all meanings I have given into it. And that's where you will start becoming very conscious of the consciousness that you have developed, and the consciousness that can help you to in fact break this pattern. Because when we say that your thoughts affects your cellular system or changes your cellular system, it means the thoughts till now also have changed your cellular system enough and have taken this memory and is now become an automatic function for you to speak those words. So I find many rational and logical people saying it. No, I just say those words. But the question is, where do you pick those words from? You pick those words from based on your own consciousness, and you like them at some level, and that's how you start using those words as negative or harming words. So if we look into our whole self, in fact, you have to become aware of that. uh, the study shows, now I don't trust much, I don't have any evidence, I don't know how have they reached to this conclusion, that nearly 66,000 thoughts, that's what they say, that they appear in our mind in a day. And yes, but I do know the next thing about this study is that nearly 90% thoughts are same. I would say not 90, I would say 99%. That's my own understanding, are same. It's like, I always give an example that when you miss out something and you can't find something out, you keep searching at the same place where you have not kept it, and you several times go to the same pattern and not able to find it there. If you have lost a paper file in your um, filing cabinet, then you keep searching those files only which you have searched enough number of time only to find it's not there. So we are the victim of our pattern, and our patterns come from our cellular structure, cellular system, and until we work enough with ourselves, we will keep on getting the similar kind of thought or have the same kind of approach. So this is how it is. So now, what is the way out? So if you say no, I will think positive and I will cut down every single word and change into positive word, I think then also at the back of
Mhm.
mind you are somewhere thinking that I think negative and I have to replace it with this positive. So
Mhm.
it requires a bit amount of diplomacy and a trick with yourself, in fact, to really find out and actually find out, dig deeper into it, that how every single thought that I have and every word that I speak, in fact, actually is affecting me. And even if, as Siri spoke, that you pick up the good words from your dictionary, that's the first step. But the consciousness behind that and the work that behind that you do, and the new experiences you start pocketing, and altogether newness that you start experiencing in your whole body, and until you become the embodiment of that new way of being, it will continue. So the way out is that you have to get involved into some activity. That means you have to stop the mindlessness of, you know um, your patterns or your habits, as you watch TV without thinking. And that means when you're not thinking, you're not resisting, you're open to receiving. So you are allowing the thought process to become more stronger that you don't want. So the this is why people will get engaged in some kind of work. And I think walking is the one simple good action oriented exercise which I think believe everybody can do. So walk more, maybe in your home or outside,
Mhm.
and do some yoga, do some, those kind of new activities, maybe gym, maybe some other activity which gardening. You can do anything like that which involves you fully, and do that completely and mindfully, and then get into the natural thought process of accumulating new experiences, and that time generate new kind of a thinking and design new words, design new responses. And then talk about the, you know about, don't criticize people. My One of my spiritual master has a very famous saying that don't do ABCs: don't accuse, don't blame, and don't criticize. And don't learn this kind of ABC, okay, and learn a new kind of ABC that is called appreciation, being with people, and compassion. So learn the new ABC. So every single word that you're replacing, associate it with the new activity, new way of being. And I believe that take coaching. Okay, that
Mhm.
have a coach. It might sound a bit like this, that hey, we are talking about coaching, but yes, we have to have someone questioning us, and we avoid being questioned. So if you want to change your thought process, a new way of approaching, behaving, thinking, responding, acting, there is no other way you to learn getting associated with the most empowering resourcefulness. And from that way of being, designing a new kind of a behavior, new kind of a thinking, and creating energetic consciousness. Because if you, some of you have asked the Bruce Lipton research, he talks about the energetic consciousness, the kind of energy you release within you. That's what matters the most. So what kind of a energy you unleash and trigger in your um, nervous system, and your cells get roughed up and brushed up with the new energy, and they get polished. Okay, new kind of protein springs up from within. And that's how, you're then, I won't talk the too much technical term, but there's a pineal gland deep inside you. You start sensing things better. So that happens, a new illumination and a new kind of a thoughts. Your inner guru, your inner faculties, your power discernment, that awakens up with this kind of activities. So leaving behind the passive life and getting engaged into life where you feel full of life and fully alive to the things, and having some accountability partner, someone asking you again and again, how have you managed to live in more positive way of being today, and not forcing yourself but allowing yourself and evolving like that being. So that's what my answer is, see, to whole thing that the person asked. If you see some
Yeah, I
other
think
question, you
that's
can.
yeah. So that's very very beautiful, beautifully explained. That how you can do something more, and I think do it more often, right? So now this question comes up. It says, how does coaching help in creating cellular level changes? So since you mentioned coaching, now when we're talking about coaching, it's very interesting that how coaching can really help to create those level changes. When you're talking of coaching, it's about having that meaningful conversation where, because coaching works at level of values and belief level also, it actually brings into your awareness what so far has been in your unconscious mind. Coaching is about more of empowering people, understanding that they have all the resources present inside them, which are always there, in an unconscious, but how to bring it forward. So that's why when you have a coach with you as a mentor, and when you undergo a process of coaching, it actually helps you to eliminate your limiting beliefs. First, become aware of it, then take them out of yourself. Any kind of fear, any kind of unwanted thought, coaching can work at any level when we are talking of actually a useful coaching. As an expertise, coach also helps people to navigate, to go beyond their present conscious thinking and awareness, because that's what you're already doing. Certain things that you're doing, why do you hire a coach? Because somewhere you find that you have a more potential and you're not able to tap that. The job of a coach is to help you to go beyond that, and with the help of a coach, actually a client can really create that change in their thinking pattern. And we have really experienced, and I think probably if you are also coaches and you have done coaching even at any level, you have also experimented. Let's see, even the young kids, to just to a little bit give you an example, how the children today are really so brilliant. Believe it, like it's amazing sometimes when you see these young kids asking you a different question, which you think where it is coming from. No, they have not learned from anywhere, but somehow it is already there inbuilt into them, right? And mother plays a big role as a coach to help these children to really bring that potential, because she's the one who's never curbing them. She's always letting them to go forward and create much more possibilities. So similarly, when you hire a coach or when you take coaching, it actually enables you to go beyond your present thinking process. And once you do that, it impacts at your molecular level, because you are in your own neurology. So you cannot escape your neurology. Maybe you're aware of it or not, that's something different. But once you see a possibility happening in front of you, your whole neurons just fire up that, okay, this is possible, I can do this. and you actually traverse to a different dimension inside your thinking process. And when you are looking at more possibilities happening, your cells start to grow faster, and the cells which are, which are more happy cells, right? So one of the examples which I can give you is, we had one of our students. She's an IFRS officer right now. She came walking with a lot of pain when we did the workshop in Hyderabad, and she went out of the program dancing. That was such a phenomenal thing, and that girl could not sit without a, pillow. And she was like, when she came, she was in too much of pain. And even going back to, how do we do it, and just to add an example, when I'm talking to the people in the hospital, when we do that as a part of, understanding them, I do tell them it's all about, of course, one thing is physical ailment has happened, but something in your mind which can create a huge difference. So let's come back to coaching. When we're talking of coaching, and when you are helping people to get in touch with that potential, it gives a different surge of energy inside them. And we are not dead, we are all alive. So this body is, change is happening every moment. And the moment you are in touch with that particular sense of your, the resources, you have a different body feeling, you have a different posture, you have a different, the whole system behaves in a very different way. That means your each cell is a receptor, and there are 1,000 receptors of each cell what you have now, and they respond to one peptide or a protein. So let's say when you have feelings of anger or sadness or guilt, there are different proteins which are generated, or these peptides which are there. And when when you're happy, then you release different kind of hormones, and there's a different kind of flurry of these neuropeptides which happens inside your body. So let's leave the technical part of it, but just understand from this perspective only, that if you are, you have the capacity, and all of us have the capacity to reprogram ourselves so that we can revive them from negative thought process to a more positive thought process. That's an effort, because we have been not been trained on it. If I speak, originally speaking, human beings cannot sustain change for any longer time. So if you're speaking bad words, you're creating pain, and your body cannot sustain that pain, so it ends up creating a physical ailment. You can go and check with the biomedical sciences, they also say the same thing. In order to create that, when you hire a coach or when you take up coaching, the coach is somebody who is actually helping you to get in touch with that potential and eliminate certain negative thought process, eliminate those negative behaviors, and work on it. So it's not something, it's like a magic coaching is done and you'll be the thought process eliminated, but you have to work. But at least you have a, a drive within yourself, you have a pathway to work on yourself, so that you are using lesser negative thought processes within yourself, and you're looking more towards more power that you have within yourself. And obviously the good news is always there, that we can reprogram our pessimistic selves to be more optimistic by adopting even a simplest of practices. One is like mindfulness. All of us have heard the word, and if you do not know what it is, you can call us back, we'll talk about it also, what is mindfulness, how to practice it. And the other one which I have practiced, I'm telling you, it's something very beautiful, is an attitude of gratitude. Believe it, it's miraculously, it can heal your body. It can heal your every cell that you're carrying inside your body. And I have really learned this in so many years working with so many people, and at the hospital especially, when you're doing it, if you carry this attitude of gratitude at every moment of life, your each cell believes it, it will be much more happier than what it is today. Because we carry so much of garbage in us, we do not know how to take it out, and it's very difficult for any one of us to take it out so easily. So if you live with this attitude, so you hire a coach is one aspect of it, and if you simply think of even living in a gratitude every moment, even to the extent what you can see, what you can hear, the way you can move your hands, even your eating and your body is digesting. I've seen people who have not been able to eat for many, many years because they have some problem in their digestive system. Imagine that. I know it's difficult, but then if you come across such people, you will understand that being in the attitude of gratitude is actually one of the keys which can create a magic in your whole body, right? And obviously coaching is definitely is one part of it, because coach is somebody who will help you to be there, who will help you to break those patterns and also live the attitude of gratitude, because some of you have not been trained on it how to do it, right? So I think
Okay,
that's
so
one of the
when we say coaching, it doesn't mean that only that you have to get a coach, but it means that also self coach yourself. And self coaching means that be compassionate with yourself, and do not punish yourself. And rather than getting into the feeling of I'm bad, that's a good Michael Jackson song only. And rather than that, be more compassionate and be more decisive to bring about changes within yourself, and begin to move one bit at a time. And that's even a good change and a good um, self-coaching process we can start with. And let me also tell you that
Just
in
before you
our
go ahead, so we have
innermost.
a comment from Anuba. She says, "Coaching is not magic, but it's magical." I think that's very very well said.
Thank you very
It's not
much for.
magic, but definitely it's magical. Definitely it is there. Yes, sir.
Okay. And I would say it's also mystical as well. And people have to really get into a right coaching model to experience that, because the change happen and the result shows up at a quantum level. And that quantum shift or a quantum leap one can take up, surpassing the linear progression. So magic is more structural and more, it has steps into it, and we can measure it. But when mystical things happen, we get surprised and amazed by that. So it's mystical as well, because if you just find next morning, I'm not able to talk bad today, despite and in spite of thinking, I would say it's mystical. So in most shift coaching model, we especially talk about one yoga somatic changes, and this relationship between yoga somatic change and the cellular level change. I would say that in a simple manner, those people who are new to this subject, which means that um, we can change our way of being by somatically moving. So, somatic is a movement therapy, you can say. Um, a way of re-educating the brain and the way you hold your body. Like, for example, if right now, right at this moment, you're lost in your thought, you become aware of the way your body poses right now, the way your thinking and thoughts are, and you become conscious and aware of it, and you start changing your body and get to the new body shape right now and allow your body to shape up, your thoughts will shape up. What it means is that your thoughts and thinking have shaped up your body. And the way your body shapes up today, shapes up means doesn't mean the way your nose is, that's God given, the eyes are. The way your body shapes up, okay, that shapes up your future. So if you reshape your body and time and again retrain the way you hold yourself and carry, the way of carrying yourself. Like say, if you walk to your senior or boss, the way you carry yourself. When you talk to your children, the way you carry yourself. If you go for having a meal, the way you carry yourself. When you're waiting yourself for meal being served, the way you carry yourself. So that that retraining every muscle, every sense, every nerve retrains your entire cellular structure and way of being. It's incredible that such practices can bring subtle changes at a very deeper level that cannot be imagined. That's why I say mystical. So you can relate it to the yoga, but not yoga as a movement, but yoga as a consciousness. That yoga is not about twisting and curling your body and able to touch your legs or feet. That's not what it means. You might have a structural limitation in your body, and that's okay. Then yoga is about becoming one with your existence and allowing yourself from that oneness to let your body shapes up and your thoughts and thinking in the direction to shape up. Yoga is about living from the highest state of excellence, the supreme state of excellence, and at every single moment being aware of and joyful about the kind of potential I hold, the kind of possibility that exists within, and things that I can achieve. So getting to the best of it, and that's where we have also named that when you get to the best of a state, then how you can map it. And we have a very very profound pattern, we call it best pattern. Body energy, the sensory system, thinking and thoughts is the uh, short way of explaining it, but it takes a lot to become mindful about this. So we talk about that, how you can become aware of the whole of your being. And from that yogic state or yogic presence,
Mhm.
you somatically and in your thoughts and thinking respond to the life happening before you, and which also means which we pay a profound attention or awareness that recognize you not as just man or woman, and not as a human being even. Recognize yourself as life finding its expression, and how this life is finding expression through this instrument or temple or body. And similarly, begin to look around to you. Also, everyone, everything as also life finding the expression. Now, when you change at this level and you just become one with everything, you experience a profound state of love and oneness. And from that oneness, your whole molecular cellular system find a new way of reshaping itself. And there's a little crystal in your crystalline structure, it's called pineal gland. Okay, it it just lights up, and you find life and things very differently than you are presently finding, and that's what I believe is a cellular change. Okay,
Mhm.
so this is what I wanted to add up to what Siri you just said, and what I wanted to say also. Yes, is there anything more there?
Yeah, I think that's it. So I think we can just probably talk a little bit in conclusion that, so if you're really looking forward to create a change in your cellular structure of your body, see, it is a fact that each cell is reprogrammable. And that's why if you see the people who have been strong and they have been strong willed, they have been able to overcome the worst of disease or terminal disease, but not many of them because they somehow believe that it will not happen to them. So it's about how you really think and what you're doing. Our body is changing every minute, and it's about your thought process, how you can really change that, becoming more conscious of it, becoming more aware of it. Whether you hire a coach or do it yourself or do self coaching, whatever you pick up, it is your choice. But do start measuring your words. What is happening inside your brain, in your mind? What are you thinking? Any situation is situation, but how you interpret and how you tell to yourself is creating your future body, what you're carrying, your future self, what you're carrying. So if you
Yeah,
become
that's
aware
where
of it,
see,
I think,
just
yeah,
that thought triggered to me right now from your question. And so, give me a moment because time will
yeah,
end. I must touch that. You touched that part that how that young girl came in and she had a terrible backache, and you though you did mention that she walked out, but I want to touch here that part that we did not use any therapy work with her. We did not. We just kept going the way the program goes, and during the program itself, she was becoming aware of her own thought process, her own thinking, the way she responds to certain triggers, and how she cannot cope up with the unexpected situations of life. How, in fact, she's too much fixed and adamant on her own opinions and thoughts with own relationships she has, and despite of she's trying to remain focused, she's not able to keep focused. Now all these are small changes, which is, I mean, in our workshop of course we do it step by step process, but she was going through a regular conventional workshop, and a third day she began to come without any support. Fourth day I found that she's standing. Fifth or sixth day I found that she's moving. Seventh day I found that she said that I want to dance. So
hmm,
she had just removed the baggage that she was carrying from different parts, different aspects,
hmm,
and then the cellular transformation, cellular change start taking place. So I know that just after that, when we announced it, and there was one testimonial we gave it, and the another person signed up with the backache. Now, we are not therapists. We told him, hey, if you're just coming with a consciousness to only treat your backache, perhaps this workshop is not for you. However, if you are coming here to learn the generative way of empowering yourself and listen to what generates and the emergent thinking, and then responding to that what emerges, of course that might treat you from not only backache but anything else. So if you work with one single aim of one ailment, then your focus is still on the ailment and you're thinking negative. So it means that if you're thinking to square up the losses you have made, then your thoughts are still holding on the loss you have made. But if you're thinking of enough profit to generate a good way of life, then you leave that idea of thought of loss behind. So it's a word of caution I wanted to give you, that when you have a negative on the backdrop of your mind and you're thinking to overcome that only, then you're still thinking negative. But when you're thinking change into a quantum leap, you leave those tiny problems behind. So that's the message I wanted to give us. See, so I just that thought I thought I can stop you here and speak that. Hmm.
Yeah, I think
So
that's perfectly fine.
I think we can say bye to our audience now. There's no more
Okay.
question I see coming up. And thank the audience for giving
Well,
us
thank you
good.
so much for being with us and being on this topic, the topic which is very close to our heart, especially mine, because working with so many people and also especially working in the hospital and coaching doctors was one of the fabulous things which we did. And it was such a wonderful thing to happen. And so please try and experiment whatever we have said, and let's see. And I think it's all about you experimenting it and doing it. Yes, it's a journey. You will start and then it will start following it up. So wish you all the best and thank you so much for being with us,
Bye
and see
bye.
you next time.
Thank you for
Bye bye.
lovely audience. We can't see you, but you can see us, and we hope to see you someday. Bye bye.